The Jaladuta Diary, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada appeared in this world in 1896 in Calcutta, India. He first met his spiritual master Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami in 1922. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, a prominent religious scholar and the founder of 64 Gaudiya Maths Vedic institutes, liked this educated young man and convinced him to dedicate his life to teaching Vedic knowledge. Srila Prabhupada became his student, and 11 years later, 1933, in Allahabad, became his initiated disciple. At their first meeting in 1922, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur requested Srila Prabhupada to broadcast Vedic knowledge through the English language. In the years that followed, Srila Prabhupada wrote a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, assisted the Gaudiya Math in its work, and in 1944 started Back to Godhead magazine. Maintaining the publication was a struggle. Single-handedly, Srila Prabhupada wrote the material, edited it, typed the manuscripts, checked the galley proofs, and even distributed the individual copies. The magazine is now being continued by his followers and is published in over 30 languages. Recognizing Srila Prabhupada's philosophical learning and devotion, the Society of Gaudiya Vaishnavas honored him in 1947 with the title Bhaktivedanta. In 1950, at the age of 54, Srila Prabhupada retired from family life, adopting the Vanaprastha retired order to devote more time to study, writing, and preaching. Srila Prabhupada moved to the holy city of Vrindavan, where he lived in humble circumstances in the historic medieval temple of Radha Damodar. There he spent several years in deep study and writing. He accepted the renounced order of life, sannyas, in 1959. At Radha Damodar, Srila Prabhupada began the work on his life's masterpiece, a multi-volume annotated translation of the 18,000-verse Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Puran. He also wrote Easy Journey to Other Planets. After publishing 3 volumes of the Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada journeyed to the United States, arriving in September of 1965 to fulfill the mission of his spiritual master. With him he brought no foreign exchange, but he did bring sets of his books. After almost a year of difficulty, he established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness in July of 1966. Subsequently, His Divine Grace went on to write more than 60 volumes of authoritative, annotated translations and summary studies of the philosophical and religious classics of India. Before passing away on November 14, 1977, Srila Prabhupada guided his society to a worldwide confederation of more than 100 ashrams, schools, temples, institutes, and farm communities. In 1968, Srila Prabhupada created New Vrindavan, an experimental Vedic community in the hills of West Virginia, which became a thriving rural community of more than 2,000 acres. Several similar communities were established in the United States and in other countries. In 1972, His Divine Grace introduced the Vedic system of primary and secondary education in the West by founding the Gurukul School in Dallas, Texas. Since then, his disciples have established schools throughout the United States and the rest of the world, with the principal educational centers located in Vrindavan and Mayapur, India. On the level of higher education, Srila Prabhupada formed the Bhaktivedanta Institute, a center for advanced study and research into the nature of consciousness and the self. The institute is comprised of a body of scientists and scholars who have recognized the unique value of the teachings brought to the West by His Divine Grace. Srila Prabhupada also oversaw the construction of several large international cultural centers in India. The center at Sridham Mayapur in West Bengal is the site for a future spiritual city. In Vrindavan are the magnificent Krishna Balram Temple, an international guest house, and the Srila Prabhupada Memorial and Museum. There is also a major cultural and educational center in Bombay. Srila Prabhupada's most significant contributions, however, are his books. Highly respected by the academic community for their authority, depth, and clarity, they are used as standard textbooks in numerous college courses. His writings have been translated in over 50 languages. The Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, established in 1972 to present the works of His Divine Grace, has become the world's largest publisher of books in the field of Indian religion and philosophy. In just 12 years, in spite of his advanced age, Srila Prabhupada circled the globe 14 times on lecture tours that took him to 6 continents, where he daily enlightened audiences with classes and discussions on the Vedic literature. Over 2,000 of these lectures are available on recordings. Initiating over 10,000 disciples and enlisting further tens of thousands of life member supporters, he guided his followers and inquirers with valuable instructions and counseling both personally and through some 7,000 letters. In spite of such a vigorous regimen, Srila Prabhupada continued writing prolifically. His works constitute a veritable library of Vedic philosophy, religion, literature, and culture.